Hello everyone, it's Sigga here, and today I'm going to be altering one of the circle boxes around Graphic 45 using the Let It Snow collection, or the beautiful Christmas collection. Now I am basically starting off by flipping through my pattern paper and seeing which papers I want to use on my project. And I want to use this beautiful floral paper for the top of my box. So all I do is put the lid on the paper and use a pencil, draw around it, and then I just cut using my scissors. I'm not worried about being too precise because I can always ink and sand and make things look a bit more, I don't know, like they were supposed to be. But this is good enough for me, and since this will be distressed a wee bit, then I am not too worried about it being too perfect either. I started by inking the pattern paper, and I do that to every single pattern paper that I use to cover the box. I'm using a deep blue ink because I do love the blue color that is in the collection, and also because I plan on painting the box on the inside with a blue paint, so I want these things to match as much as possible. Now when I am sticking the pattern paper to the box, I like to use liquid adhesive because that gives me a bit more freedom. I can move things around and I have a bit of a wiggle room, I guess. So if things don't line up perfectly, I always have, 20-30 seconds to get things right, or right-ish. And I'm just adding a bit more pressure so that the adhesive gets really stuck to the box and I don't get any air bubbles, or at least as little as possible. And like I said, if things don't fit perfectly, I just cut them and then I re-ink the edges anyway. So things don't always have to look perfect. You don't have to measure things or anything. I just like cutting things, and then if things don't match up perfectly, ink is your friend. It'll make anything look, well, like it's supposed to be. And then the inside I just paint with acrylic paints. You could of course use pattern paper to decorate it, but I wanted to go with paint since I wanted to keep the paper on the outside, and by having paint on the inside I have more room to add stuff to my box really. Plus it is way quicker. And now I have covered the bottom of the box, both at the very bottom and on the sides. And again, I am not measuring precisely. I just use a ruler to see the width of the box that I'm using. And then I just cut the pattern paper down to size so that it almost covers the whole thing. And I ink the edges of each and every pattern paper so that they all have the same definitions, I guess. And again, in this case, I'm still using liquid adhesive because that gives me wiggle room, and it is very easy to manipulate liquid glue when you're handling things that might be odd shaped, or in this case, a round shape. So that I use the liquid glue and my hands just to make things work for me and cover everything. And now of course 12 inches are not enough to cover the whole box, so I just cut another piece of pattern paper, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not being too precise that they look like they're a whole piece. It doesn't matter to me. I just continue that it looks full-ish, I guess. And the same thing, just liquid adhesive and the fingers, and of course your best friend, patience, is a good thing when altering items. I also wanted to add a bit more blue to the whole box itself, so I used the smallest one of the blue ribbons to add a bit more shine to the box. And to stick that down, I just used a double-sided adhesive and just ran that through, or just ran that the whole circle, just doing a bit by bit, not being too into much a hurry, just taking my time and making sure that the ribbon looks ever so pretty, because it is a beautiful blue and shiny, and by using double-sided adhesive, this goes so quickly, and it gives a beautiful kind of like a presenty kind of a look to the box, which I really like. And then I just make sure that these are actually fine and that things aren't snagging onto anything else, and then I can actually open it again, which is always a good thing. And now I want to decorate the top. I'm using these beautiful die cuts, but I want to give them a bit more dimension really. Now these are flat, these are beautiful as they are, but I'm using a bone folder to score a line, and I do this to the flowers that I use and the leaves as well. So I score a little line for each and every petal, and I do that for every leaf as well, because that is going to help me manipulate these petals later on. So I'm not cutting into them, I'm just scoring them a little bit. So by doing that, I will have, or it will assist me in making it a bit more 3D like. So all I have to do next is to hold that little bone fold in the middle and then just squish, and that gives the petal a wee bit more shape. And since it is paper, it is very forgiving and it's easy to manipulate when you've done the score line beforehand, so it's easier for you to do. And like I said, I do that to the leaves and everything, just to give a bit more dimension. Then I basically layer each and every piece onto each other until the flowers are ready. Now that I have added foam tape to my chipboard piece, which is the focal point of the lid, I just adhere that in place, and all I have to do now is to stick the flowers and the leaves where I want them to. I'm sorry I'm a bit out of frame, I just did not notice, I guess I was in the crafty zone, sorry about that, but I'm just placing those flowers and those leaves around the focal image of the chipboard. And I'm using foam adhesive for the flowers to give them a bit more dimension, or even more. But the leaves, I'm just using adhesive, liquid adhesive, and just sticking them here and there, both under the flowers, so they look like they're coming beneath the chipboard piece, just to add like a bit more interest to the lid itself. And I'm sticking the whole of the leaf down, just the bottom and then the top, just to make sure that I won't accidentally rip anything off when I'm using the box really. And then I am using a snowflake paste. You can use any glitter paste or white paste, because I wanted to add a bit of snow and sparkliness to the box. This is Christmas, so I connect sparkliness and white fluffiness of any kind to any Christmas project really. And then I also wanted to add a bit more of a, I guess, a rusty metally kind of look. So I picked up the beautiful little clocks. I love these. I mean, these are so detailed and beautiful, and yet they are so light, so they're not that heavy that they squish anything around them. Absolutely adore that. So I decided to put those in the center of the flowers because, well, they just look so nice. And to make sure that everything is in the similar space really, I added a bit of paste to the clocks as well to give them even more dimension and yes, sparkliness, because metal can sparkle all over. At least I believe that. And that is basically my box finished. But then I figured, no, I need a bit more sparkliness. So I just pulled a bit of sequin mix from my stash and just drizzled it over the paste while it was still wet, so it would actually stick to it. So I added a bit of snowflakes and sparkliness just because I could. And that is the box ready. I really hope you like this little quick step-by-step or tutorial, and I would love to see your own altered items, because well, I just love anything Christmassy and anything altered. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.